class. Today we're going to learn about fractions. Are you guys ready? Let's start. So what's a fraction? Well, a fraction is a small part of something bigger. Let's see some examples so you guys know what they actually are. So this is what a fraction looks like on paper. Here we have two examples. The first example is 1/2, and then the other example is 2/3. So we need to remember that when we write a fraction, there's two parts. The number on the top and the number on the bottom. And there's a line right in between them to signify that it is a fraction. So let's take it one step further. Here in our example, we have 1/2. But we need to know what each part of the fraction is called and what they do. So the top number is called a numerator. A numerator shows how many parts are taken or shaded in. And the 2 is the denominator. The denominator is the total number of parts. So how about we make an image for each of our fractions? So here for example of 1/2, we have a rectangle cut into 2 equal parts. And we can see that one part is shaded in. So this represents 1/2. One of the 2 parts is shaded in. Here, in our example of 2/3, we have another rectangle, but this one's cut into 3 parts. And we can see that 2 parts of the 3 are shaded in. So this represents 2/3. Now that we've reviewed what fractions are, let's go over what a whole is. And then whole numbers as fractions. So let's begin over here. We see a square cut into 4 different pieces. This, as right now, is one whole. But if we shade in one part, we have 1/4 shaded in. So let's write 1/4. Now, if we want 2/4 to be shaded in, or as we can also call it, 1/2, we would shade in another part. So I'm going to write another 1/4 because that is what it equals. So let's say I want 3/4. I would shade in another part. And we're in 1/4. Now let's say I want to shade in all 4 parts to make one whole. It would look like this. So here we see that all 4 parts are shaded in. That would look like four over 4. So what we talked about in class is that fractions can also be a way to show a division problem. So let's say that we want to find out this, like what it looks like as a whole. So we would divide 4 by 4, and we would get 1. So we have one whole. Did you guys know that we can have fractions with more than one whole? Let's see an example. So we just saw what one whole looks like. But fractions don't have to be less than 1. So here we have our one whole that we just did previously. Let's see what it would look like if we added one more 4th. So let's see how many 4ths we have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this would be 5 over 4. Now, what would 6 over 4 look like? Let's find out. Look, now we have one whole and a half. let's see what 7/4 look like. Look at that, we're almost at a full square. Now what does 8/4 look like? Wow, that's 2 holes. So we could say that 8/4, if we divide that, 8 divided by 4, that's 2. So that's 2 holes. Isn't that awesome? Now let's try some activities to practice our whole numbers as fractions. So now that we've reviewed what fractions are and of whole numbers as fractions, let's do some activities to practice whole numbers as fractions. So our first activity is going to be on pizzas. And our second activity is going to be on eggs. Alright, so here we have our first activity. So this activity is going to help us try and connect whole numbers as fractions to our daily lives. So, including myself, I have 9 people at my party. And I bought 3 pizzas to share evenly with everyone. But I need to figure out how many pieces I need to cut each pizza in so that everyone gets an equal slice. So, if I have 9 people and 3 pizzas, let's try dividing it to see how many slices I should cut each pizza in. So 9 divided by 3 is 3. So let's try cutting the pizzas into 3 slices each. So here we have 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, 4/3, 5/3, 6/3, 7/3, 8/3, and 9/3. Would you look at that? We have 9/3. Remember how I said that with fractions we can divide them? Well, 9 divided by 3 is 3. So we have 3 whole pizzas. And we cut them into 9 pieces each so that everyone gets an equal slice. That's it for our first activity. Let's move on to the next one. Hey guys, so here's our second activity. We're going to use eggs to represent our fraction. So here we have 1 carton of eggs. As you can see, there are 6 eggs. So this would make the fraction of 6/6. But what if I take out one of the eggs? We would be left with 5/6. If I put it back, this makes 1 whole because it is 6/6. And 6 divided by 6 is 1. Now, what would it look like if I had more than a whole? So what if we add another 6th? This would mean that we have 7/6, which can also be seen as 1 1/6. What if we add another one? That would be 8/6, also known as 1 2/6. And if we add another one, that would be 9/6, also seen as 1 3/6, which we can see is half of a carton, so it would be 1 1/2. And if we add another one, that would be 10/6, also seen as 1 4/6. And if we add yet another one, we would have 11/6, which is also seen as 1 5/6. And if we add just one more egg, wow, look at that. That looks like 2 holes. Let's see. So we have 12/6. Remember how we can divide a fraction? So 12 divided by 6 is 2. So there we go. We have 2 holes. So that's the end of activity 2. I hope that this class about fractions and whole numbers as fractions was very helpful for you guys. Thanks for watching.